Hi everyone, today I want to talk about The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. This is a young adult contemporary novel that was published earlier this year to a lot of hype. It was billed as a book that was influenced by the Black Lives Matter movement, and because of that, I had my eye on it. I was finally able to read it a couple weeks ago during the BookTube-a-thon, and I had some high expectations due to the amount of hype, and I'm happy to say that this book lived up to those expectations. I thought it was fantastic. I'm going to attempt to talk about why that is, but there's just so much to talk about with this book that there's no way I will be able to cover every aspect of it. The book is about 16-year-old Star Carter. She is split between two worlds. She has one side of her life that takes place in Garden Heights. It's the poor black neighborhood where she has grown up and where her family lives. The other world is the mostly white fancy prep school that she attends. The book opens with Star attending a party in Garden Heights where she runs into her childhood best friend Khalil. After things get violent at the party, she and Khalil leave in his car and they're pulled over by a white cop. The result of this is Khalil being shot and killed by the cop and Star being the witness to this event. Khalil was an unarmed teenager, and this of course incites a lot of anger in the Garden Heights community, and Star has to decide if she's going to risk bringing these two worlds of hers clashing together in order to speak up on behalf of Khalil since he can no longer speak for himself. I thought this book was almost perfect. I loved the plot line. I loved how it tackled a lot of intense, hard-hitting topics, and I really loved the characters. I loved Star as a main character. I thought she had guts, but she was also realistic because she was afraid of what might happen. She wanted to support her community and support Khalil and speak out for the injustices that she'd seen, but as a 16-year-old girl, she was also afraid of what might happen to her. I thought she was very reasonable. I also really enjoyed reading about Star's interactions with her siblings and her parents. For once, we have a young adult novel where the parents are present and they are great, well-written characters. Star and her siblings and her parents and her friends and other people that she interacts with in this story are so well fleshed out, and I was really impressed by that. It is big, it's about 450 pages, so there is a lot of space to delve into these characters and really understand their motivations and where they're coming from, but it never once did it really drag for me. Angie Thomas used these fantastic characters that she had, and she made them address some really intense topics, either personally or with other characters, and although at times I did feel like it was a bit heavy-handed, like there was a bit more tell than show, I do think that's an aspect of the fact that this book is young adult and it could be reaching out to a really young audience. This book is not really written for me. I'm 25, I'm not 14 or 15, so some of these things I sort of understood maybe on a bigger level than what this book was really explaining, but I do think it's really well done for somebody who is a bit younger and might not have had as much exposure to a lot of the issues that this book is addressing, and still making it understandable for them while maybe going a bit overboard depending on who that teenager is and how much they already know. I felt a ton of emotion reading this book. I was happy, but I would also be very angry at times. I had so much empathy for these characters, and also there was some really satisfactory moments, but everything was still rooted in reality, which makes this book great, because although you want things to work out in this book, the realistic side of it is that it won't. Nothing is going to end neatly wrapped up in, tied up in a bow. It's gonna have some intense moments that just don't pan out how you want them to for your characters. One theme that I particularly liked in this book was the idea of not judging someone on just one small aspect of them or their personality. Things are said about Khalil in the media, and of course a lot of people rush to judge him. This is something that relates particularly to Khalil, but it also relates to other people in Star's life, and I think it makes you reflect on what you know about this person and really consider where they come from and what they've been through and how much better they're trying to be, or maybe not how much better they're trying to be. I thought it was a really nice message that was sort of interwoven throughout the book for a lot of the different characters that we do focus so well on. I already kind of mentioned how I felt that certain moments of this could be a bit more telly than showy in terms of really spelling things out, and how that's both a positive and a negative. There were two other things that I wanted to mention that I didn't particularly love, thought they could have been improved on a little bit. The first was that certain sections did feel a little drawn out. I think bits could have been shaved off and actually maybe put in other sections that I felt were a little short. And it also did have a few of those cliche young adult lines. There weren't many of them, thank goodness, but there were a couple lines that I felt kind of were forced or just awkward, and I wish they could have been cut. I think it wouldn't have taken anything away from the story, or maybe just have them rephrased, because some lines are just so cliche and YA. If this book gets people to empathize more or stand up for what they believe in next time a situation like this happens again, I think that the book is doing something amazing, because it's helping people become better and think about their actions and consider what they can do to make the world a better place. This is why books should exist, because they make us question what we know and try to make us better people, or at least try to help us become better people. And when that book can be geared towards a younger audience and influence a younger generation that has so much more time to become better people and expand their horizons and just become more aware of what is happening around them, that's good. That might be a lot of weight to be putting on one book, but that's how great I think it was. It has that potential to influence younger people who are 13, 14, 15 and make them question what they're seeing on the media, or maybe speak up when somebody is saying something and they're hurting other people by doing so, or just empathizing with someone that they maybe don't know as well and trying to see things from their perspective. If you can't already tell, I do want to give this book 5 stars. This book wasn't perfect, but it was powerful, and it had a lot to say, and it was done with well-written characters and an interesting, engaging plot that tackled some really tough topics. If you have read The Hate U Give, definitely tell me what you thought of it down below. There's so many different things that are tackled in this book, it's so hard to talk about them all in this review, so if there's something I didn't mention that you want to mention, definitely do so down below. As always, all of our links are in the doobly-doo. Check those out if you feel so inclined. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later.